Hey everyone, welcome back to Land Investing Online. Come unlock your potential freedom through land investing. Here at Land Investing Online, we teach students how to profitably buy and sell vacant land. This is the simplest, least competitive, and most profitable sector of real estate. For more information, visit landinvestingonline.com. We even have a free Discord with tons of successful investors. Come learn from the best. As always, guys, please subscribe, like the YouTube channel or Spotify, Apple Podcast, whatever you guys are listening to. It means the world to Ron and I. As always, I'm Daniel Epke, joined again by my brother and business partner, Ron. Welcome back, Ron.
Hey, Dan. Good to be here.
Today's topic, we're going over how we made $500,000 in 2 months from land flipping off of one county. We're going to dive into the details. We have a piece of paper right here that shows all of the properties we bought and sold in that county. So we're going to walk through how that worked and how that happened on our end. But before we do that, let's get into a question from one of our members. The question is, I'm starting with $10,000. Should I send mail for less than $10,000 properties so I can buy them myself?
This is a really common, really good question, but it's a common question we get. People only have $5,000, $7,000 to start. What do they do if they get a piece of land that's worth $20,000? The answer to this, guys, is get funding for your deals. Do not just try to buy deals yourself. It's not the way to scale this business. So if you're only buying deals that are 10,000 or more, or less, you're probably selling for 25,000. So maybe you make 15 grand on a deal, opposed to buying something for 50,000 and selling it for 120 or something. Then you're making whatever, you're partnering up, you're splitting it, you're making $35,000, $40,000, you and your partner. So that's the way to do it when you're new. Send land for deals that are property offers that are $5,000 all the way up to $100,000, $150,000. That's how you're going to maximize your profit. That's how you're going to scale. And even if you do get one deal that's $10,000, are you just going to do that one deal and then kind of call it quits and wait till you turn that money? That is a very slow way to do it, and the way we do not teach.
Exactly. And we're going to have an episode coming out soon on pros and cons of using your own money versus not. And definitely at first, it's really important to leverage other people's money so you can scale. Actually, in any business, that's really the case, and it's not different in this business as well. But let's get into the show. So how we made $500,000 in 2 months from land flipping from one county and only 1,200 mailers. So yes, that's crazy. This was a jackpot of a county. Doesn't happen a lot. Before we get into the details, I want to say that we send out a lot of mail, and this does not happen all the time. It's something with consistency. If we're sending 20, 30,000 a month with consistency, this kind of stuff does happen. But not every single mailer is going to be like that. And if you're consistent, you will get something like this eventually. It's just a matter of time. But yeah, I just wanted to say that before we jump into that. But to go over it, like I said, it was one county, 1,200 mailers, and we got about 12 to 15 deals or something around there. So we're looking at a 1% yield ratio with really, really good properties that sold really, really fast. And Ron's going to walk you through a little bit of that.
Yeah, I mean, it was we were sending so much mail and sending to so many different counties. I think looking back at it, I didn't even realize that how much we were getting in this one county until I looked at it a week or two later after we were already buying some of these deals because they were good. I'm like, wow, this county, we were getting some other deals in other counties that we mailed. And then I just looked, I'm like, wow, we have 8 properties under contract to buy in this one county. And they kept on coming after that. The first thing that comes to your mind when you get a county like this, one, did I overprice it? So that is a very common thing. You're going to get more purchase agreements when you overpriced. I looked at them and it just wasn't the case, to be honest. 2, is it a bad area that we're not going to be able to sell the land? Again, I looked at this and I looked at other days on market for properties around it, and that wasn't the case. We got really excited when we saw this and all the deals we had coming in. Some of them were small, buy for 8, sell for 20, which are amazing deals. Those deals really help pay the bills. They help kind of stack on top of the big deals. And then we got some bigger ones, buy 60, sell 140, buy 60, sell 120, buy 25, sell 70, I think. And these are flipping fast. So like Dan said, this is not a county that is going to happen every week or every month, maybe not even every year, to be honest with you, but you don't need it to happen, but it's going to happen at some point. Dan's one that selected this county. I don't think it was anything special he did. He can talk about that more.
That's a good point.
But I don't think it was anything special with county selection or anything. And that's the common question we get.
Yeah, and that's a good point. Everyone always asks, how'd you select this county? In our course, we have 2 modules. We have a county selection module, just the basic. We don't want people going too in depth when it's their, first, second, third, fourth mailer. We want them to get their feet wet the easy way, not spend too much time selecting a county. Just follow the test that we provide. And then we have an hour-long module in it, our advanced modules, which is literally an hour of us diving in, going through the different techniques of exactly how we price. And if you do want to see how we selected this county, it is that. But I will say this county, we do that for every county, and this county didn't really stand out in any way. It's not like I sent mail here like, oh, I can't wait for this to hit. Honestly, we like any county, we send the mail and forget about it, and send the next mail and forget about it, and then the deals start coming in. Which brings me to the next point. When you get this many deals so fast, I mean, we bought 12 to 15 properties. We probably had 30 plus properties under contract for a purchase agreement, or 20 to 30 properties under contract. So when you get that many properties at once, you really get a little nervous to buy. We have a county right now in a new area, especially when you're unfamiliar with the area. We have a county right now in a new area that we're unfamiliar with, and it's so hard to make those decisions on them. And we have another video on what do we call it? Deal analysis paralysis or something with that as well. But it's when you get this many, you're like, is there something wrong in the county? And you do have to be leery, and it could happen, I guess. But in this case, like Ron said, they sold really fast, and they're extremely profitable deals.
Yeah, another thing that makes this kind of us, we were second guess. It was the first county in a state that we have ever mailed. Yes, we did mail other counties right at the same time or right after this one, but this was technically the first county that we mailed in this new state that we were testing out. So like Dan said, we definitely second guess things, but at the end of the day, like a good deal is a good deal. The market was fast in the area. It did really well. We mailed counties around it, did well in counties around it. It was just a good area, to be honest, to acquire land. And most of the land in this county, like a lot of times you get, I don't know if we had 25 under contract, like Dan said. We might have had, if we bought 12, we might have had 18 under contract. The land in this county was really, really good. Like we were getting, nothing was landlocked. There wasn't much flood issues. Like we're getting deals, looking at them, it's relatively flat, and like there was just not much to be nervous about when we were buying the properties. Like we would get our drones there before. The drone would tell us like, yeah, that's a good property, and we move on, buy the property, get it sold pretty fast. But the biggest thing, guys, and actually I want to talk about remailing, Dan, a little bit. So we did remail this county multiple times, and we're still getting deals from it. And the way we do this is I adjust the price based on what happened the first time I mailed it. So obviously, as the market goes up, you got to offer a little more. You don't want to just make an offer for the same price. You have an advantage and an upper leg on these people when you have a really good county to remail it, because you know the prices. You know what you sold things for. I priced 100% based on what we were selling things for, not based on what my other data is showing me, but what I personally was selling things for. So I think that's a big advantage, Dan.
Yeah, when you have 12 to 15 different data points from things we sold, we knew how fast it sold. And honestly, like if we sold things in 3 days, we knew we were a little underpriced as well if we wanted to push the market a little. And even these big properties, like we had one property that was right next to a graveyard, the buy 60, sell for 110 or whatever, 120, whatever we sold it for. That was next to a graveyard and had defects and had a road going through the middle of it as well. And it still sold relatively quickly. Like when you have properties that aren't ideal or perfect in that way, and they're still selling quickly like that, you know something's good with the market. But what I loved about this county is we had such a variety of properties, right? We had 6-figure properties, and then we bought some 5. We had a 5 sell 15, 7 sell 20, 4 sell 14. Like it wasn't just these big properties. It was really because Ron talked about the other day how if we only sent, based on that question actually we asked, right? Wasn't that the question in this show? If you only offered 10, so yeah, if we only offered $10,000 or less properties on this, we would have only acquired, I mean, we still would have done very well with it. We would have acquired four properties, but think of if we only offered that and we didn't have this buy 17, sell 70 or whatever, buy 60, sell 145, whatever that was. And that's what Ron's saying, to leverage other people's money. And that's what I wanted to get into is we had to leverage, this was early on in our career as well. We had to leverage other people's money to come up with, $500,000 to buy these properties. We wouldn't have been able to do this alone. We did buy a lot of them with our own money, I think, but we also leveraged out and got deal funding for a lot of them as well.
Exactly. That's a good point. If we would have just offered $10,000 or less, like we're sitting here making $40,000 or $50,000 on a county instead of 500,000 or close to 500, right around there. I haven't added the numbers up exactly, but that's a really good point. Like, and that brings it full circle to our question to start, and that should be a example exactly why you should not do that. Like, that is not the way to maximize your profits. Like Dan said, we got deal funding on a lot of these deals. After we remailed, we probably got about 18 to 20 deals. I don't know exactly, to be honest. We're selling one this week. I think it was buy for 5 and sell for like 18. And they just keep coming. Like, we'll still get, and I'll probably mail this a third time. Like, people always ask me about remailing. People always ask us about saturation too, Dan.
Yeah.
Like, if there's saturation in the market, why can I keep on mailing the same county and keep on getting really good deals?
Exactly.
We did another county right by this. Same thing. The first time we only got one deal and we made like $15,000, which is great. I mailed it again a couple months later, and all of a sudden these people want to sell. Things change in life for these sellers, and they're all of a sudden willing to sell their land for whatever, under market value, whatever they feel it is, but they're getting quick cash. So that's a really good point on this, guys. Like, there isn't, like, yeah, there's going to be some competition with this, but as far as market saturation, I shouldn't be, if it's saturated, I shouldn't be able to remail a county and keep on getting deals 3 and 4 times per year, the same county. But life situations change, and then people are willing to sell their land, and they want that our what we provide is a real service to them.
Yeah, and this is land. It's not their house, so they don't need this land. And I always tell people that too. This isn't like a house where you need a house to, for shelter, survival purposes. This is land. You don't need it for survival. If you have a kid going to college and you need money, or you have to pay taxes, or whatever your situation is, 6 months ago, think of everyone's life 6 months ago. So what is it? We're in June now.
Yep. So
it's June. So that would have put us January 1st. I'm thinking of my life January 1st. I didn't know a tax bill. If you own different cars, like, things just change. A kid's in college now. That's not my situation, but things just changed from 6 months ago to now.
Yep.
So this is land. This isn't a survival thing. This is one way they can liquidate and get capital very quickly from us.
Think about inflation and the stock market. Where was the stock market and inflation January 1st? The stock market was coming off one of its best years, and I don't know the data, and now it is one of its worst losses ever to start the first 6 months of the year. So just think about the money, the liquidity. Like, people were paying whatever. They're paying 10, 15% more for groceries for daily needs than they were on January 1st, essentially.
What was gas prices January 1st? I know we just hit a national average of $5, I think, today or yesterday.
I would guess $2.50 to $3.10 maybe. I mean, where I was, gas was always pretty cheap and obviously kept on going up. I was in a small city in South Carolina, but I would guess it was 50%, maybe a little more than 50%, but I mean, gas has doubled.
It's crazy how quick things change. So it's just showing, we dove really into that, but the purpose of that was really just showing how much life can change in 6 months for people, especially if they need to liquidate assets in a market like this.
We're getting a little off topic. Let's bring it back, Dan, because I think people want to hear about that $500,000 we made on one county.
Yeah.
But let's talk about like the turnaround time, I think. So we mailed this county. I don't know. I don't know the exact dates. Just say we mailed it some June. I don't know when it was, honestly. Like, when did we send our money out? How long was the deals? So to answer that question, like, those 12 properties from the first time we mailed, we probably acquired all in about 4 to 6 weeks. So within 4 to 6 weeks, we owned these 12 properties. A lot of them we did get deal funded. Some of them we paid for ourselves. And then these all sold, Dan. I want to say 8 weeks might be the longest. I know I stretch things out a little more than you, and you probably will say 4 or 6 weeks because it was really fast. But by within 8 weeks after we bought the property, we probably made $500,000 or just near $500,000.
Yeah.
So we sold. We sent the mail. 4 to 6 weeks later, we owned all this land. And then within 8 weeks, so about 14 weeks, 3.5 months or so, we had made $500,000 on one county, because we decided to send a real big range of prices, not just to that low prices. But it happened really fast. It was like Dan said, it's one of our best counties, if not our best county.
Yeah, it's actually an unbelievable county, like, thinking back and just thinking of the numbers that I'm looking at. And that's what I have in front of us. I don't know if you guys can see that. We wrote out every single deal. That's what we keep looking down at this paper. If you guys are watching on YouTube, I keep looking at that. We wrote down what we bought it for, what we sold it for, and the profit on it. And yeah, these sold very, very fast. There's a couple, I'd say 80+% of these sold within a week. or the first 5-6 days. Like this, especially the smaller ones, those ones we sold for like around $15,000 to $30,000 sold very, very, very fast. One did take longer to sell, the one Ron's talking about, and that's the one we were under contract for this. I think it was like 17 acres or something. We were under contract like 2 or 3 different times, and the buyers kept just something happened. But the great thing about these two, they are almost all cash, so we can close them really, really quick, and that's what made us able to make that 500,000 in 2 months like we did, because how quick close, low contingencies on their offers. They were just really, really high demand, so people put really attractive offers in.
Do you want to talk about the landfill a little bit, Dan?
Yeah. So we bought. I was looking for that one on here.
2540.
We bought a property. It was 20 acres. Nice property. Did have an easement going through the southern. It was 2 parcels. 2 parcels next to each other, north and south. And the southern parcel had easement going straight through the middle of it. That was the big defect on it. And then that easement took you to someone else's property behind it. And we bought it, and we noticed the descriptions on one of the properties said something about a landfill. And we did dive into it a little bit, but we didn't do enough due diligence on it. We didn't know. I called the county. They were telling me it's buildable, all this different stuff. And we're like, whatever, we can buy it. I know we went down. We got this price lower, right?
Yeah, I think we were probably under contract for 30 or 33 maybe.
I think it was 35 actually.
Was it?
And then we got them down. So we bought 20 properties, just over $1,000 an acre. And we're like, wow, this is a really good price. So yeah, we thought one property was a landfill and the other was fine. Ends up they they both were classified as a landfill. So this property we put on the market, and it got so much attention. People were going out there, and then we got under contract. People were giving us escrow, and then they're like, wow, this is a landfill. And we're like, yeah, it is, but we have this. And we ended up going back and forth with the EPA. And I actually got a hold of someone after a while in the county. I can't remember what his position. He was with the health department.
Yep.
And I told him exactly the situation. I sent him, we had a document from the EPA's office showing where the landfill was exactly. And we used this, and we knew that part of that property, or a good portion of that property, never was a landfill, right? So anyone who's listening and they don't know what a landfill looks like, you couldn't notice. This was an old landfill. You couldn't see anything really. If you were looking on a satellite map, you could see like a little circle around part of it. But it was all grown over with trees and stuff. You could just see those trees were newer, and there's some indications of it. So it wasn't like a dump that was just, had a bunch of dirt in it. It was all grown over, a lot of good stuff. And the problem with this, everyone's probably asking, what's the problem? If the land's fine, this is rural America. You got to dig a well right under that. And you're going to go straight through a landfill to get your drinking water and your house water. That's where the issue is. And those toxins can leak out. And it can get extremely dangerous. And anyways, long story short, we bought this property for 25. I think we had it listed for 65, was getting a ton of attention. Mm-hmm. We ended up dropping it down to $45,000 and selling it. So we still made a good chunk of change on this property, but that was the biggest defective property we've ever bought, and we still almost doubled our money on it.
Yeah, I don't suggest buying landfills, like going around and trying to buy landfills. We were very fortunate, and we did our due diligence before, but we probably didn't do as good a job as, like I said, this was early on in our career. So we learned a lot from this county. And when you buy as many deals as we did in this county, you're going to run into some different issues. Dan did a really good job getting them down on price. We probably could have gotten them down more, to be honest.
He bought it for
$5,000 or something.
He bought it for $5,000 from a tax auction or something. Yeah.
And it was still insurable, which is good. I wouldn't have bought it if we couldn't insure it, if title couldn't insure that. But we learned a lot from that county. That land, it did have me nervous for a little bit, but Daniel did a really good job talking to the health department, talking to the EPA, and they were getting the reason the county didn't want liability. They illegally closed the landfill whenever it was. I think it was like 30 years ago.
They never opened it.
They never filed it or something like that.
With the EPA. So you got to file for a landfill with the EPA or something.
So the county, to protect themselves, kept on they were getting 10 or 15 calls every single day from our potential buyers. And they were just telling them no, you can't build on it, because they just wanted liability protection for them. So we had to go to the EPA. We had to go to the health department and kind of explain. We showed them the map we had of where the landfill is. And then they got approval for building on the northern lot. The southern one was an active landfill at one time. The northern one was not. So it was a crazy deal. Don't get me wrong. Would you Would you do that deal again, Dan, with those numbers, or what would you, if you went back? Like, there's no way we would have bought it.
I would have bought it. I would have gone back. I think we could have got that for $12,000, to be honest. I mean,
And you would, if you knew the top property they could build on.
yes,
correct?
if I knew the top property, I would have tried to do more. And we thought that originally, though.
Yeah.
I did think
that's
that
what
originally.
they told us. That's what the
Yeah.
county told us originally, until they started getting all nervous
Yeah.
with all these people and liability, I think. So when we did our due diligence, they said, yeah, you can build on the top one. Then we put it up for sale, and they're telling all these sellers, like, no, both of them are landfills. And then we had to go to the EPA, to the health department.
And I called him. I'm like, why are you telling everyone you can't build on my northern property? I have a map that shows you from the EPA, and I was talking to the health department, from the EPA that shows you where the landfill was and that this northern's buildable. And he had no idea. He's like, you have a map? Can you send that to me? And then his whole thing changed, and I sent it to him, and I followed up, and he ended up being really good and working with us. And then he gave us like written approval that you could build on the northern property.
Yeah. But I think that kind of covers that whole county, Dan. I mean, it was like I said, like we said, it was our best county, I would say. Like, we've had counties where we've made a ton of money, but the speed of this was unbelievable with this county.
Yeah, exactly. And to sum it up, it was like 12 to 14 deals, all very profitable, averaged over, doubling our money plus more. And it ended, the speed of this county was so fast, so fast. This was incredible. And I'm excited for our next county like this. It does happen. We have one right now that we're kind of in the same ballpark as this. But if you guys are curious to how to do this, just send a large volume of mail for a long time, and one of these will come for you.
Exactly. I don't have much more to say. You good?
Let's wrap it up. So thank you guys for joining. Again, visit landinvestingonline.com. We have a free Discord with tons of successful investors. If you guys want a free consultation with Ron and I, if you guys are serious about land investing and maybe don't know where to start, go to our website, landinvestingonline.com, click the Start Here page, and it will take you through step 1 through 3. Step 3 is a consultation with Ron and I, 15 minutes, and you can ask us any question you guys want. Again, please like and subscribe this video. Other than that, thanks for joining. We'll see you next episode.
Thanks, guys.